Good morning, everybody. Today, let's talk of an interesting concept called rewilding our gut. Basically, as we live in urban environments and we end up following a lot of modern life practices like eating refined foods, sleeping late, watching TV till quite late, and being on our devices, not always exercising, meditating. Each of these things actually has a huge impact on one of our key organs, and that is the gut microbiome. It's basically gut microbiome refers to the bacteria that resides inside our intestines, and that is such a huge impact on our well-being in very complex ways. Now, science doesn't always understand each and every dimension of how that impact is, quite like climate change sometimes, don't you think? That we can all see that it is causing an issue, though we don't understand every connection and every little nitty-gritty of it, but it is happening. So quite like that, when we work and live in an urban environment and follow some of modern life practices, we end up depriving our gut microbiome of its natural diversity. There's tendency to keep very hygienic and keep washing our hands, over sanitization. This reduces gut bacterial diversity, and that causes quite a bit of impact on our well-being. So today we are going to talk about how to rewild our gut. So the first and most important thing in that is to avoid antibiotics. There are three things you should do. Avoid antibiotics, eat fresh fermented foods which reintroduce the bacteria into our gut, and the third is to now feed that bacteria with fiber, because fiber is the food for the bacteria. Quite like planting, preparing the soil, making sure that you plant the correct seeds and then maintaining those seeds with the water. It's quite akin to that. Think of it that way. Now, we will come to how to plant it later, but let's first make the soil ready. And in the soil readiness, what is the most important thing that we got to do is avoid the use of antibiotics. Now, why do we say that it is so important to avoid antibiotics as much as possible? It's for a couple of reasons. One is that if we use antibiotics for minor things, then our body develops antibiotic resistant microbes inside us. That means the microbes that are inside us already evolve and adapt to the environment that they are living in, and they become savvy and resistant to antibiotics. So let's say when you have a serious illness or there is some problem that requires antibiotics as an absolute essential, the body has become resistant to it and does not respond to the medication. Now, we wouldn't want to do that. So it is so critical to avoid antibiotics for minor illnesses. The second reason is that actually use of antibiotics has been connected to a lot of immune issues, gastrointestinal issues, C. diff overpopulation. C. diff is a kind of bacteria that grows in our intestines, and we don't want that recurrent infection of that bacteria, bad bacteria in our intestines. It causes diarrhea and a lot of other issues. So avoiding antibiotics, whether as a young child or a grown-up adult, it is essential. Especially in young children, there have been connections to neurological imbalances and disturbances with the use of antibiotics. Now, as far as possible, we avoid it. But then the common sense question comes: what do we do? How do we help ourselves when there are minor issues, illnesses, scrapes, bruises? So, well, I rely on 5 things mostly, and I think that's a wise way to go. Let me try and show you at least 3 or 4 of them. One is, of course, ginger. Okay, my beloved and favorite ginger. Get yourself a couple of slices of ginger in the morning, either grate it and use it in a tea, or you can put it into honey and have it, just munch it down. The second one is lime. Okay, have lime. Okay, have lime juice because it's full of lemon, it's full of vitamin C. Add it to your salads, add it to to warm water. One essential thing is, please do not heat it, because if you heat the lemon juice in any way, the vitamin C in it dies. The third one is, of course, it's on a plate, so you'll just have to bear with me. That's turmeric. And turmeric is very good for managing all kinds of little infections and cuts, bruises, small flus. Fourth item is coconut oil. Now, I'm not recommending any specific brand, but just use good quality coconut oil, and it is antimicrobial in many ways and will help you heal bruises. The last one is honey. Now, I would recommend that for minor cuts and bruises, you can just use a combination of turmeric and coconut oil and smear it over the cuts and bruises after cleaning, of course. For minor colds and coughs, it is absolutely possible to just boil a little bit of ginger and consume that on a daily basis. You can have a little bit of warm milk with turmeric on a regular basis. If you actually do all these things, your immunity itself is raised and you do not end up falling ill as often. So I hope this is useful. Let us start the process of rewilding our gut. This is the first step of avoiding antibiotics so that we can prepare the soil. In the next episode, we will be talking about how to start using fermented foods, that is planting the seeds of the good bacteria in the process of rewilding your gut. In the meantime, you can look us up on www.naturenudge.com. We will leave the links and the QR codes below for you to access the sites. There are lots of interesting articles you can read there. Catch you. See you soon.